Good morning, folks. Quick 2-minute rundown on the charts for members. These are the major currencies. You know we're short on the dollar yen and short on the Swiss yen, and these are looking pretty good still. We just missed an entry on the dollar yen at 148.80. It spiked up there, hit 148.80 precisely. I got the trade entry, but I didn't put the trade alert up in the trading room. It was the middle of the night, and I hadn't actually been detailed and specific enough about the trade entry. Nevertheless, we've got other positions on the dollar yen, and we'll see how that plays out. If you did get that 48.80, well done, and I know some of you did. I want to point out that the dollar index is at this 200 period moving average and in between the 38 and the 50% fibs. The last 2 days were two doji candles, and today's just falling down a little bit. I think we might actually hold underneath this 200 period and move down, but I'm allowing for a move in either direction, maybe up into the 104s and 105s on the dollar index before we move down, but it's looking like it's struggling here. If you do think that the dollar might fall, in other words, stocks will rally, gold will rally, everything else will rally, dollar down, then you might want to have a go at the euro and try a little long trade at the euro 200 period moving average. I don't have a long position on the euro, but I think I'll just watch this for another day or two going into next week to see where we end up. It's possible that we might need to revisit 107.50, this swing low here, and the 100 period moving average. Let's keep an eye on that for a day or two, and the same with the other Forex majors. And Swiss yen, as I said, we've broken that channel moving down, so we're short on this one as well, looking for a move down into these lows at about 160, and then potentially much lower into the 140s and maybe even 130s. Okay, so that was a little long-winded. I didn't expect to spend so much time on currencies. Let's go over to stocks. We were stopped out of a short NASDAQ trade and a short NVIDIA trade yesterday. Now, the moment we broke above 17,000 on NASDAQ, I did say to my members that we're probably or possibly going to experience a dramatic short squeeze. Remember, the top of the channel is all the way up here. And if we were to get directly up right now, that would take us to 18,000. I don't think that's on the cards for today, but that's something to bear in mind. We'll continue to try to pick tops every now and then and sell for a mean reversion or a retracement strategy. Overall, though, I think any dips on the NASDAQ, S&P, and stocks in general are opportunities to buy later in the year. So today on NASDAQ, we could see quite a dramatic short squeeze. Same thing on S&P. We're looking for a top on NVIDIA. Let me just get the NASDAQ ticker up here. And this has been well broadcast by me and possibly by others as well. I don't really know. But I'm looking to sell into this circle you would have seen from our previous video. I'm allowing for NVIDIA to top out somewhere between 585 and 605. And that should take us up to the underneath of this channel. Let's see if we get an entry later on today. We have a short position on AMD. That's doing okay so far. Nothing on Microsoft. And Apple, I'll definitely be looking to sell if we get up into around about 192 to 192.50, the top of this gap and this major supply and demand zone. Gold, we're long. We took another position just above 2,000. That's looking excellent. Nothing on silver. UEC and URA, we closed our long trades this week for a handsome profit. I've got an order to rebuy URA at this green line. You can pause the video and check that out. All right, on to some commodities. On cocoa, we just got stopped out of this by just a fraction, unfortunately. It's pulling back in again now, sadly. But let's see how today closes, and we'll get another chance to resell next week if this candle closes in a satisfactory fashion. We have a long position on soya, just holding above that channel line so far. Not particularly convincing just yet, but let's see how we go. We've got nothing on cotton, nothing on sugar. We're long on natural gas. Our stop loss is at 261. 25% of that is at break even, 25% with a small stop loss. We're long on WTI, and so far that's holding up pretty well. We've broken out of the channel, still looking for this red line for a move up to around about 82 to 84. And then a sell-off into the 60s and the 50s. Same applies to Brent crude oil, very similar pattern. And then going across to these charts, nothing of real interest. VIX-Y, I'll be looking to buy a little bit more later on today. Nothing on the 10-year yield. I think this could go higher. On the Nikkei, I put a tweet up on X. Go and have a look at that if you're not too sure what my strategy is on Nikkei. I don't trade this myself. On Bitcoin, I've just initiated a multi-month long trade position at 40.80, 40.8K. My stop loss is at 14,000, 14K. My target is at $80,000 per Bitcoin. This is a long-term trade with a 1.5 to 1 risk-reward ratio. I've entered with a small starter position, and I think it's now perhaps time to play one's cards on Bitcoin, looking for a rally up into 80 and perhaps 100K by the end of this year. That sounds all very ridiculous, I know, and I don't quite believe it myself, but let's see how we go. And then just a quick note on the dollar rand and the pound rand. That's the South African rand. Basically, I'm long on both of these all the time, as I've said before, either physically with real money or in trading, just with small long-term positions. But this one's particularly interesting. The pound, South African rand, we've broken out of a long-term consolidation channel. This goes back about a year, and we've just broken out on the weekly chart. And a close above that green line, that downward sloping channel or trend line today, will mean we're on our way to higher highs on the pound South African rand. Hope you enjoyed all of that, folks. Have a great trading day. Enjoy the weekend, and I'll update you again on Sunday night, I think. And by then, I'll be back in my office, and I'll have all my favorite screens around me. I'll speak to you then.